We are live. Welcome to Gamereactor Live. Day 2 of Gamescom is wrapping up. We've once again set up here in the luxurious press area.
Only the finest quality for us here.
Oh yes. So sorry about the drab background, but this is the only place with decent internet, so we can bring you our thoughts of the day that just passed. Joined, of course, by Gillian McAllister, editor-in-chief of Gamereactor UK.
UK, you got to think about that for a second.
I was about to say EU, but I know you prefer UK.
We are a nation without a country, yes.
Busy day. They opened up to the public today, of course, so the throng has been all over the place. Thankfully for us, we do most of our work in the business area.
Mostly. It took me about 15 minutes to get here. I think I just sat down about 2 seconds before we went live.
Yeah, so I don't know, they always talk about German efficiency, but for some reason they put the press area in one end of the conference center and the business area in the other one, so just walking back and forth takes at least 20 minutes.
They just know how lazy we are. They figure we need to get fit, and this is the only time of the year where we do.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's football season when when you need to, it's just fucking elbowing.
My thighs are like stallions now. They're just like firm and ready to roar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just spent the day back and forth between the hall,
various appointments,
and then the Radisson actually with Sony, which was quite nice.
Yep.
For me today, though, I kicked off with 3 of my potential game of the shows.
Oh!
I had this all in one day, which was amazing.
Nice hat trick there.
It was, I'm quite ecstatic.
And still a day to go.
Still a day to go, but it's going to be hard pressed to beat this, to be honest with you.
Okay, so
I'll start in reverse
I'm curious.
order.
Shoot me.
So, only about an hour, 2 hours ago.
Yep.
So I'm in one of the business center areas, and I had 3 or 4 different PRs come up to me and said, "Have you seen this game yet?" I'm like, "No, you seen this game?" Different PRs for different companies, but all of them were talking about this game. I'm like, well,
okay.
I need to get in.
Okay.
So I managed to extra myself about half an hour space between appointments and went in, sat down.
Give me a name already. What game is it?
Life is Strange.
Yes, I was thinking, because I've heard it from 2 different
really?
people as well.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay, so bit of context about this. So sat in, I got in late, so I was about 10 minutes into the presentation, so I didn't really get any background about the developer or anything like that. And it wasn't until the end of the presentation when the Q&A started that I realized actually it was the Remember Me guys.
Oh,
and this was the title that we're queued up to see tomorrow.
Yeah.
Night.
Yeah,
it's like our
last appointment right before we all pack into the car and rush off to the airport. Yeah.
And I feel sort of bad now I've spoiled the surprise. I mean, I'm glad to see something good because we were worried we would get there tomorrow as our last appointment, and it would be something that maybe we weren't particularly enthused about, but I walked out with a glow for that game.
Okay.
So, to put it succinctly and maybe too obviously, imagine Heavy Rain, but with Juno or Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist overlay.
Okay.
With rewind time functionality.
Okay.
So the demo that was...
what type of game is it? Because it popped into my brain like something like Braid.
No. So third person adventure, story-driven adventure.
Okay.
So that's sort of like Heavy Rain thing where you control the character and you interact with the world, where you'll go up to anything, you'll get multiple contextual button prompts. So basically lift it up, touch it, move it, whatnot. And it's basically, now, this is a little bit of speculation on my part because, like I said, I wasn't in there right at the start. Yep. But you play as a girl called Max, teenager, who is reconnecting with her old childhood friend, Chloe, whose father has died in between you guys growing apart and is now living with her stepdad. And her stepdad is a security guard at the campus where Max goes.
Okay.
Okay. And this particular scene was set at Chloe's house, just reconnecting between the two of them. So it's all basically narrative-driven, dialogue-driven, with a few multiple choices. You know, branching dialogue, basically, as anyone that played Heavy Rain will. Yeah,
I've also heard nice things.
We need one of the mics.
Oh, okay. Well, apparently I'm not allowed to talk anymore.
I guess
was I boring you that much? Yeah.
I guess we'll share a microphone. We need to film more interviews. So.
I take this one.
Yeah. And then, which one are you going to turn down? I am speaking into this one. Can the people still hear my voice? Yeah. I've also heard. I've heard some very nice things about the art style of the game. It's all hand painted, so the game looks like an oil painting.
Yeah, it's not quite it's not quite up there with Braid, so it's not that far gone. I mean, it's still realistic, but there's a vividness to the colours that really sort of, burn out of the screen, which is really nice. And it does look very, very distinct. It's going to be episodic. It's going to be downloadable, digital only, it seems. 5 episodes, each episode 2 hours each. And what you'll have is you'll have multiple dialogue options, almost like Walking Dead. So a better way to say Walking Dead meets Heavy Rain without the sinister, depressing tone. And the idea is, during scenes, you can see something play out and then choose to rewind time as far back as you want within that scene. So you can't rewind all the way back to the start of that particular chapter, just that particular scene, and see how it plays out. And you can do that as many times as you want. The developers are like, you can do it. We don't see why you would. I mean, we love the game, but even we wouldn't sit there for an hour just doing each little insequential thing. But the idea, as always, as any of these story-driven games are, whether the action you do now is the right one may not necessarily mean it has a good payoff at the end, which is really cool. Now we're dealing with drugs here. We're dealing with lost parents and stuff like that. So the themes in it, even just from that demo, just seem so it's nice to explore, and it's unique in that sort of way, and it's taking a tone and a direction that we don't see, and we have only seen in Walking Dead or a Heavy Rain. And even those are, you've got Walking Dead, which is obviously survival horror. Heavy Rain's that murder mystery thing. This is Nick and Nora's playlist, just played out with who knows where it goes after that.
Yeah. Can you take the sensitivity of the mic up so we can hold it here? I don't know how to do that. Just let's see, take it up here. I just turned that up. Yeah, and just if people can still hear us perfectly.
I gotta entertain them,
Yeah, exactly.
while you're doing the tech stuff.
Yeah. Now you said there were 3 things that you were really impressed with, but I think before we actually hear the other 2, we have a little clip, like a show floor special that Lasse has been running around all day, diving through the throng and filming, and then he edited, and we have it ready. So I think we'll roll that clip, and then I guess let's do it again at the end of the stream. So
because it's that nice.
Yes.
The boys went through that much work.
Exactly. So let's roll that right now. Oh, so yeah, there we have it. A little bit of a missing clip there from the export. That's what you get when you're rushing things. But so a little taste of the show floor, what Gamescom is all about. It's the people getting in, getting to play the games, and getting hands-on, and cosplaying and having fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, fun. That's the thing we're supposed to be doing.
Oh yeah, work. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
But so, second thing on your list of possible showstoppers.
Actually, yeah, it was 2 and 3 in the one appointment. So we actually opened the morning going to see the Oculus Rift boys.
Oh yeah, that's always fun.
We went to see Nate and Palmer's the creator of Oculus Rift. Phenomenal interview. I wouldn't say like in-depth and technical. It was more just a bit they were ready for a laugh. I mean, I did that. We talk about here when we're meeting people for the first time, we don't really know them. What's the best sort of icebreaker question or icebreaker comment you can make? So came in, set up the interview, and the two of them I went, so guys, I really didn't recognize you without the suits made of money. And they just cracked up at that point. It was great. And they were just like, yeah, that's it. It's in the dry cleaners right now.
Yeah.
But we sat
it's
down.
in the money laundry.
I made a DuckTales reference and I didn't get it, so I just think I went too far with that.
Yeah.
But
Quit while you're ahead.
Before we actually got talking to them for the interview, we sat down with 2 new Oculus Rift demos. And these are the 2 other games.
And on the dev kit too, obviously.
Yeah, on the dev kit too.
Yeah.
So the first one was Lucky's Tale.
Okay.
And this is actually a third-person cartoon action-adventure platformer.
I've always been interested in how would third person work with the Oculus Rift.
Phenomenal.
Perfect.
I said to them afterwards, I said, I haven't had a vibe like that to a platformer since Super Mario 64. Remember when you played Super Mario 64? You go back now and it just looks crap, basically. It's really, really bad these days. But at the time, you got that vibrancy of the world, clean cut, looks beautiful. So the idea is you stick the Oculus on and you have basically an island, waterfalls and platforms and stuff like that. And you can lean into the world and actually control your character, who's a little fox with a little cape. And the cool thing is, if you lean right into him, he turns and sniffs his nose at you. Or there's butterflies you can put your face through, or there's oils that fly about. And if you get near them, they'll stop, land, and then look at you. And if you try and go past them, they'll jump at you. They'll just try. It's great. It's fantastic. So the idea is, as you're platforming, you're looking for like secret areas by actually leaning down or looking round or looking up. And that type of game works beautiful with Oculus because you just feel part of that world.
Awesome.
And the platformer itself, if this was just on anything else, you just go typical platformer, but that richness, that extra texture, that extra third dimension adds everything to it. And I would quite happily have sat there and played a full game of it. It's just brilliant. But on a completely counter to that, second demo was one. If you guys have watched the PlayStation conference the other day, you might have seen this name drummed into your head. Super hot. Super hot.
Super hot.
Just
Super.
in case you... It's so good we had it said 10 times. But if you haven't, the idea is it's a first-person shooter game where time moves when you do. Now, just trying to work out how that works. The idea of it is guys take in, they fire, you stop moving, the bullet will just... time doesn't stop, but it slows right down. So you'll see the bullet slowly come towards you with the Oculus. Lean out of the way, press the control, start moving again, bullet sings by. So what you actually do is you have a puzzle platformer. So in the demo we played, it's a single corridor, there's 3 guys at the end of the corridor, starts off, 3 of them, just handguns, and you have to run and pick up a handgun in the middle of the corridor and do that. Second and third time through, middle guy has a shotgun, and the shell just explodes. And with the headphones on, you're getting that sort of slow sizzling sound as you're moving your way through, and then the zing of it going past when you move time again.
Yeah, I've played the free demo that was up online without the Oculus, of course, because I'm poor. But
come around here.
I can definitely see that as being the perfect game for the Oculus, because with time slowing down and you're looking at the bullets whizzing by,
Again, same thing of I'm not quite sure how it's going to scope out to a full game, but again, it gave like a unique experience. And that's certainly what the Oculus guys were talking about where they want this tech of theirs to go. They're very much supportive role for developers. They're taking on board comments, feedback and everything, but the idea is they want people to think outside the box. controlling cameras might not sound particularly interesting, but if you think about it, and as an example, imagine an RTS game where you had to lean in and look around and look at your infantry, look at your units, look further afield, you know, actually stand up and try and peer across the land. Just these small things that makes the experience feel totally new yet again, you know, and that again, that sells me on it. I think I've said this at E3, I said this at Gamescom, I've said it at every single event we've been to where Oculus is there. It has never once made me think, maybe it's not worth it. I will happily buy this consumer product. They're still not saying when, saying will come, but not when.
Yeah.
I said to Palmer at the end, finished the interview, and I said, listen, just want to say personally, this has been like a seismic thing for me. This for me is like when 3D was introduced, when you used the Wii remote for the first time, using Oculus. I loved it, and thank you very much. He went, I don't care. I made it for me, not you. It was like, okay, fair enough. But it was a nice.
But take my money.
Take my money away. But he's basically saying the fact, and I think it's a fair point. The best games are when developers are making it for themselves. Sure, you're getting feedback from community and stuff like that, but they're passionate about it. They're not making it because the publisher said, we need a sequel, we need a side game, or you know, you're taking someone else's license. It's something you want to make, and you know, if some people don't like it, fuck them. You know, it's very much like that. Talking about side games. I believe you were looking. Do you see the segue?
Yeah,
you see
I see the segue. I kind of wanted to build it up differently, but
we can freeze time and try this again.
No, let's move on. I visited Deep Silver today, and I got to play a couple of the upcoming Dead Island games, because of course they're spreading that license. Some would say thin. I would say, well, to anybody who wants to play it any way they want to play it, because of course they have the MOBA coming up with Epidemic, and Dead Island 2 is coming. They're kicking off the new gen experience for Dead Island 2. So I'm going to start talking about that, and then I'll move on to the side game.
Okay.
So Dead Island 2, we got a 20-minute demo, 10-minute each with two characters. The kind of berserker and the speeder, I believe she was called. So the heavy and the stealthy assassin. And I mean, I played through Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide, but it wasn't a wow for me. It was, you know, I enjoyed it with a friend.
Right.
Completely necessary to play it with a friend. Single player was just, you know, Anyway. Dead Island,
just nothing really new, nothing revolutionary.
Really special.
Would you have known the Spec Ops guys were doing this?
Did I know that?
No.
Or
would you
playing it? Would I know that?
Yeah.
No.
Would you go hang on? I mean, I know when we talked to them, obviously before they said we were making a Dead Island game. They're not making Spec Ops Zombie Edition. Yeah. But
the thing is, you can definitely tell there's a new developer handling it. They've kind of embraced the humor that's inherent in the game, because I mean, the marketing for the original Dead Island games was very dramatic. Everybody remembers the reverse trailer, and everybody's tried to copy it since.
Yeah.
But when you actually got into the game, and you're playing it with friends, you play it so much differently. I mean, you know, you level up just your hands and, you know, punch.
Uppercut people.
Punch their heads off, and you know, laughing with friends and running through a horde of zombies. So it was always the gameplay itself was more fun, and now they've incorporated that more into kind of the world and the story, if you will. I mean, we got to try a couple of upgradable weapons. They've removed the bench.
All right. Okay.
So you just collect stuff, and then it crafts.
So no manual selection?
I don't know. In this demo, it automatically crafted and attached to the weapon that you had. I don't know if that's going to automatically happen or if you have to select it to craft.
Yeah, it sounds like you have to select.
But the point that they made is they have several types of upgrades. They have of course the electricity, the fire, and they have the freezing. And those modules you can attach to any weapon. So if you just want to have a sledgehammer, you can make that toxic, or you can make that freeze people, or whatever. So there's no barrier of entry to the modding, so to speak. So, you know, any weapon that you want, you can upgrade it any way you want. And they also talked about how the multiplayer works. You just drop in and you play with friends. The single player, if you want to play it only single player, that's opt-in. You have to tick a box so that it's.
I like that. They're not.
Because, like I said, Dead Island for me is. You have to play it in multiplayer.
It's a social experience, right?
But they had some nice humor touches to it. Quote from movies and stuff that.
So as you're killing zombies, you're coming off of one-liners.
Yeah, stuff like that. Okay. And I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
And I also had the highest kill score in my group.
Why am I not surprised?
Which is always a plus. Everything is a competition.
Was the dev playing with you?
No, the devs weren't actually playing. It was press.
All
But
right, okay.
I doubled Bengt's score, and that's a win for me.
That's what Dory's taken away from Gamescom here. No matter
But
what LC sees, this will be his
But yeah,
story.
the more in between with Mike. Yes. So yeah, the graphics were nice, of course, and this is the like I said, the new gen entry into the series, and I think some of the controls were slightly off, like the kick wasn't quite centered, so I missed with it a bit. But play it for a half an hour, and you compensate.
Is humor the big sell for this? I mean,
No. I may be overselling that part.
No. What I'm just asking in comparison is, obviously you said the social aspect's the big part of it, but I'm curious to know, have you seen anything of Dying Light? Just talking about first-person multiplayer zombie experiences at the moment.
Yeah, all I've seen of Dying Light is the B-rolls that we've gotten, and I've edited in interviews. I haven't gotten my hands on with it, but that does seem more straightforward, dramatic.
Yeah, and it's got like a day-night cycle, so the idea is it's hordes of slow-moving zombies during the day, and then a few fast-paced ones that can leap buildings.
That seems to be more focused towards the horror aspect of it, while Dead Island 2 is embracing the humor, fun co-op.
So do you think, for a co-op experience, you prefer something you can laugh at, that whole idea,
but
the
I mean,
metaphor of having a few beers with friends,
Yeah, I mean, and I mean that's me. Maybe some people like to sit in a dark room and scream through a microphone at each other. That's not quite my bag, but
wasn't that Silent Hills?
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that brings us to your tie-in.
Way back, if you remember, about 5 minutes ago.
The segue, the longest segue in history. But yeah, we also got a look at Escape Dead Island, which is
pretty much a good name for it, given your experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is an early build, although it is coming out soon. And I mean, but we're getting our hands on a build that's not ready.
Yes.
And it was a bit. There were some bugs and stuff, but
we never really concern ourselves with that particular issue because we know
I'm sure they're gonna iron all that out.
Yeah.
But so what Escape Dead Island is it's a more of an adventure game. So instead of playing these, as they say, kind of superheroes of the immune, you are actually a regular person in this zombie outbreak, and it happens in between Dead Island and Dead Island. In between Dead Island and Dead Island Replat and Dead Island 2. So in that time period, before it spreads to the mainland, and so you play as this regular Joe, one hit, one kill, so you're dropped on this private island, which seems to may have been the epicenter of where the outbreak started. So you're kind of exploring the history of where the outbreak came from, so to speak. And the character has this interesting dynamic where he's actually kind of insane, going insane. So things happen that maybe necessarily aren't really happening. For example, we were running through on the beach, and it just started raining containers. And then a container landed on us, and then we woke up, and oh no, you've been living inside a container all this time. And you move on with the story. Okay, that's interesting. But here's the but. I just didn't really enjoy it.
Why not? What was wrong that it didn't light your fire?
I mean, like I said, there were some glitches, obvious glitches, but then there was some stuff that may be glitches that are ironed out, or maybe not. It's like you're hanging on environment stuff. You're trying to walk past a car, and you see there's a gap between the car and the wall, but you can't get through it because it's like, no, you're not supposed to walk through here. You're supposed to crouch and go through here.
All right, invisible walls done very badly.
Yeah, and that kind of irked me. And it seems kind of...
Well, what's combat like?
Oh yeah, the combat is basically stealth most of the time. We only saw 2 weapons. There was a mention of a gun, but we never saw that. So we had a screwdriver for stealth kills, and then we had got a big sledge to break through barriers, but we didn't get to use that on an actual zombie because the time ran out. But so you had to stealth and stealth kill the zombies from behind. If they saw you, you're basically just running around until the big exclamation mark over it went yellow, and then sneak back up behind it. collecting audio logs and texts, stuff like that. I'm getting kind of tired of that.
Standard things, that you expect to see in games these days, but none of them do it very originally.
Yeah, so, I mean, it could be an interesting game, but it's coming out so soon. I just can't see.
You can't see it.
How further they're going to go with it.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, keep an eye out. We'll of course review it. And,
digital?
It's a digital, but it's a full release. I don't know if it's full price.
Okay. We'll have to look into that then.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
but
that's a shame.
More details on that later.
All right. Okay. You now got me worrying, trying to think about what my perhaps disappointment with the show is, and unfortunately, I don't have an answer just yet. I'll have to see how tomorrow goes, really.
Yeah.
But I will talk about another game that I enjoy. But this is actually from yesterday's one, but I didn't have a chance to wander.
Yeah,
yesterday.
you were busy yesterday when we were streaming.
I think I got in about 30 seconds. That was 30 seconds before it ended, rather than this one was 30 seconds before it started. I'm a Street Fighter guy.
Yeah.
That's always been my heritage. And this is the equivalent for old school people either doing Mega Drive turned into SNES, PlayStation turned into Xbox type thing.
Okay.
I saw Mortal Kombat 10. And goddamn, am I excited about it. Now, it's weird. I mean, I enjoy certainly like 2 and 3 and Ultimate Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Yeah. Okay, not noise in the background. Should I just grab this fan thing and talk into it in a very long, slow voice about Mortal Kombat? They showed us a little 5-minute demo, and that sizzle reel just sold me on it. Visually, it's an next-gen game, and one thing Street Fighter used to do that they haven't done in many years, you'll see it in Alpha 2, and after that just dissipates. They used to take real good care of their stages, so every single stage felt very unique, iconic almost, and every fighter in Street Fighter 2, the original one, had their own unique stage. Now, they're sort of veered back towards that with later games, but I honestly couldn't tell you in 3 and 4 Street Fighter that is any stage, right? Okay. With this one, it's all those sort of classic like Murky Forest stuff like that.
So in Mortal Kombat X.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat X. Yeah. I've whipped it back. Yes. So, 2D fighting game again with obviously sort of 3D figures, 3D backgrounds. It's a mix of old characters and new characters, so it's set like a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades after Mortal Kombat 9. And the idea is this is the next generation of fighters. So you've got the love child of Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade, and you've got obviously returning classics like Raiden, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, etc.
Yeah. Are they showing any new characters here at Gamescom?
They are indeed, though. That was actually Raiden and Kano as well. There's a couple of new characters in the game that we've seen previously. So the initial announcement at E3, we saw that character that was the big hulking giant with like a sort of
the little imp on the back.
On the back that was actually, so it was 2 characters in one. But this was more focused on Raiden and Kano, and it emphasized the new moveset in it. So the idea is that every single character has 3 different fighting techniques that you select at the start of a fight.
Yeah, they actually released a trailer like a week or 2 back that we have up on the site that really details the different movesets of Raiden.
And it really shows. I mean, Kano was the one that I saw, and the idea is you've got this brawler type, which is all sort of close range moves, wrestling moves almost. You've got a moveset that emphasizes cybernetic abilities, so laser eye, powerful bionic arm, and then one that just uses like daggers and swords and stuff like that. Talking to Ed Boon afterwards, and he said that, the fact is that you select that, and you're stuck with that throughout the fight. So it's not like lose one round, screw this, I'm going to change. But the idea is it looks to be a very healthy amount of characters. We had a look at the roster screen, which I'm sure was just, like just sort of placeholder. But I rounded up, maybe there's about 20 spaces there. So there's enough going. But when you multiply that 20 by 3 again, because each character feels different in each different moveset, you've got a lot of play to get round and grasp all these characters. It interested me. I thought it was really cool, and all the moves had that real nice sort of visual sort of sound to them. Felt really punchy and nice. Like Raiden's got like a lightning attack that every single combo he does, it doubles up the combo damage because the lightning comes out from his fingertips, adds another hit to it. And then the stages themselves, you can do interactions with the environments. So this come from, say, the Murky Forest that we saw. You can use it to create distance between you and the enemy by jumping on against the branch and flipping off that. or you rip the branch off and slam it in your opponent's face, you know, and that'll be contextual. There'll be a designated button on the controller to do that, and you'll learn through playing the stages where exactly...
where the dynamic environment objects are.
The X-ray mode's still in, quite sickening. I think any of you Sniper Elite fans will be very happy to go into this and see more of that sort of like very graphic, very in-depth, bone-crunching moves. Fatalities are back in. I actually asked Boone about this. I said that, where do you draw the line on this? And he says they had a definite line during the production cycle, things they couldn't do, and it felt more like they wouldn't do the stuff that had a really sinister tone to it. Now, this is a game where I saw a guy's head being cut in half and half his brain plopping out. But Boom was about the whole concept of the harder you laugh at something that's so over the top, it's okay. Yeah. It's when that laugh turns into an uncomfortable silence, that's when they decide maybe this fatality is not for the game itself. So I think it was a fair surmise of it, because we all love the over-top gore and stuff like that, but there's some stuff we do not want to be seeing. So we don't want to be reminded we're pulling off this stuff. Sure, rip a guy's spine out, pull his heart out, cut his head, you know, chop his head in half, but it's all fun.
All good family fun.
All good family fun with the violence. So yeah, I mean, that I saw, and I walked away. Now, it might have been because that was the first thing I saw for Gamescom, other than the conferences I saw up close. But I got a real nice buzz off that, and that's still continuing to this day. Huge contrast to like Lucky's Tale this morning. It was like I started yesterday morning with 18 rated violence, started this morning with children's TV show. It was just a weird thing. But yeah, I mean...
Yeah, and again, if you're watching this, NetherRealm Studios, please fix your netcode for the PC. Thank you.
So, that's another PC reference we've got. Again, where we're trying to be consistent, every show I do with you, you have to factor in PC conversations somewhere along the way. But I'm just trying to think about what other stuff I saw yesterday. I saw Assassin's Creed Unity, but we already talked about that on previous streaming. You can read that preview on the site, along with a longer, lengthier Alien Isolation piece where we got to see the first few hours of the game, which was incredibly nice. Another one I saw, another indie game by a company called Two Tribes, was Rive. I asked them during the interview how you pronounce this, and I forgot it already.
It's R-E-E-V-E, right?
R-I-V-E, yep.
Shit.
Don't worry, I mean, you're fine. It's how I pronounce it. It's how it sounds like it should be spelled. But that's an ode to the classic sort of platform shooter. And I actually had a little sort of echo of the Fuchikomas that you see in Ghost in the Shell. Certainly the movement, you've got like a spider bot, and as you sort of plow forward, the legs don't move really rapidly. And anybody that just walks the Ghost in the Shell animes recognize that sort of movement, or read the manga, and it just looks really, really cool. Fast-paced, sort of just random elements. There's no big story behind it. You know, indie games, you're not expecting like a huge, massive story, so it's just shooting robots, shooting cyborgs. But interesting point is what they're doing with the difficulty setting, where higher difficulty settings that they're tinkering with at the moment. This isn't confirmed, but they're talking about basically increasing the speed by 1.5 to 2.5.
Ooh.
And that sounds really cool, because even just on the normal version that I played, the enemies are really fast. You have to be very precise, because you've got 360-degree movement with your targeting system. You've got missiles, you've got standard sort of like, you know, just railgun. But you also have a hacking device that as you unlock over the course of the game, you can hack different enemies. So at the start, you hack a medibot that's surrounded, covered by a shield, and it will just try and avoid you otherwise. Hack it, and it will follow you around, replenishing your health. You can hack other enemies as well that will now defend you. It's a nice little, you know, different little tweak to the usual thing. And the hacking device also doubles up as a torch. So there's a couple of levels where it ends up just completely in silhouette and then completely pitch black, and you've only got the targeting thing to try and spot where enemies are coming from. Another one that I sat playing it for about 10 minutes, just like, sit here just for the rest of the day. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, yourself, have you actually gotten around to playing stuff other than maybe Escape from Daylight?
Not a lot of games, but one thing I want to talk about, me and Bengt filmed an interview with Peter Molyneux this morning.
Oh, right, okay.
He's always such fun to talk to. He said a couple of things that are like headline worthy that I don't want to give all of it away.
Any interview he does where there isn't something to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, he talked a little bit about the backlash that they've gotten for having God as free to play. I mean, he himself said he was surprised that he hasn't been stabbed yet. It's like he's gonna walk into the show floor and a red dot appears and
Someone's going to shiv him, just basically, when he's walking through.
yeah. But he talked a lot about bringing it to early access on PC and basically bringing in Steamworks mod support. People will be able to mod the game any way they want, and it's not going to be, if I understood him correctly, not going to be free to play on Steam.
Right.
So it's a purchase there. And basically, yeah, the game can be modded into any way you want to play it. If you want to have it faster, you know, and you don't want to do all the micromanaging stuff like that. And he also talked about his love for mobile.
All right.
He basically said it's like he's feeling something in the industry similar to, you know, when they first showed off like the first PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you know, they had the NES and those, but they felt very Japanese, and then they showed off the PlayStation. It's like, okay, this is next level.
Yeah.
And he's feeling that with mobile as well. And he, you know, held up his phone and said, I want, you know, in the soon future, I want to have my entire game library on this. I just want to walk into, you know, a friend's place and just, you know, we play all the games. Plug in a controller or plug it up on the screen, or no cloud nonsense or anything. It's just, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, that's a very interesting vision of the future. And you know, if Steam ever makes a mobile,
well, there you go. I mean, I don't see that not happening. I mean, you think about what the mobile titles are like now compared to, I'm not going to say Snake because that's really Asian things, but you know what I mean. The advancements are huge, and you're seeing, I mean, certainly with what Epic do with the Unreal Engine, squeezing that stuff in. Seeing those tech demos on mobile just blew me away. They still blow me away. So the idea of using your mobile, I'll show you your mobile because I know how much you love this thing. Brand new and shiny. The idea of maybe having that as just basically an arc for every single game and having the ability just to maybe, is he talking about basically cable in that and that acts as your game console? Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I really don't see why. Certainly with the indie stuff, the controller is always the big issue. So what you do, maybe have a third-party wireless purchasable controller. You buy two of them, and then people come around to yours and play that.
I mean, we're already seeing a kind of a move towards this with, for example, the new Shield tablet, where they have this nice big tablet that's super powerful with a new Tegra. Can't remember the name. The newest Tegra processor, and then they have their own controller that connects to that wirelessly, and then the tablet connects to your PC GPU through the internet. So now it's just a question of getting that into the tablet as well.
Well, it feels like a half. I don't think you can do halfway houses with these things. I mean, I remember last year we had a firm that was trying to do like a controller for the phone. The demoed it to us and was like, okay, that's fine. It's pocket size, which was amazing, so you don't have to worry about it. But the idea of having to carry that as well around with you, or having, I mean, you're not going to bring that out on a bus. You're not going to sit in someone's friend's house. You want to do stuff on the screen. I applaud them for trying to do it.
You're talking to somebody that has had the Sony Xperia Play phone for a year and a half, that has a pop-out controller, and that was rubbish. So you know, it also needs to be done, you know, correctly. Not, you know, okay, you have it in the phone and you have it on you at all times, but that doesn't matter if there's no games for it or if the games are not that good.
And getting third-party control. We actually had this conversation again with the Oculus guys this morning about the idea of the kit being synced up with a controller being synced up with motion controls. And the idea is because there's so many third-party stuff out there, you can't have a succinct gameplay experience across all titles. Certainly you can go, look, it supports this, but it's not being built, custom-built, tailor-built for this particular support set. So are we going to be able to have a point where there maybe be 1, 2, maybe 3 manufacturers out there who make the hardcore, the best controllers, the best mobile devices out there that we will all use? I don't think we're going to get to that point. The market's too crowded with that, but I'd love to see it. And certainly you're saying about Steam. Steam Go Mobile, and have that idea where I can bring my Steam library with me. No logging in through a laptop or computer. I just have it on my mobile, projected on the screen. That would be cool.
Yeah, exactly. Quite a tangent we went on there.
We just whipped it off.
But let's bring it back to Gamescom and stuff that you've seen and wanna talk about. Have you talked about the 3 things that you were? Was Mortal Kombat the third one?
No. So it was Lucky's Tale, Super Hot, and then I'm going to say State of Play now. It's not. Life is Strange. Thank you.
Yes, Life is Strange.
I had a brain fart there. I will talk about Destiny, though, just briefly,
Oh, yeah.
because we're talking to the guys today. Crazy to think it's 4 weeks from this being out. I was like, do you not feel this is a momentous occasion? Finally, this will be the last interview. Oh, well, they've got a few more to do, but this will be the last time you're talking about this pre-release. And I'm like, yes, great. Finally finished the damn thing. But we talked to them about their feedback from, obviously, the demo that came out during the summer there on various formats. One thing we brought up, the idea is because they introduced the player versus player competitive mode into it, Bungie players, Halo players, that was the lifeblood of that series. We love sci-fi, rich sci-fi universes and stuff like that, but that's where the lifeblood was. And I asked them about what was the sort of feedback. Did you see that basically, or even the worry is that you'll make this beautiful sci-fi world with these all co-op experiences and no bugger's going to play them. Everyone will be too busy in P versus P. And they're like, well, yeah, we actually looked at the feedback and the data from the beta, and it came out to be people did go into that straight away. So they did the level 5 thing, learned the system, learned the controls, straight into the competitive. But what they saw was small forays into the other modes, other co-op modes and stuff like that, and the strikes and everything. And those small forays became bigger and larger and longer as that went along. And it might be a case, okay, people are there for the P versus P, and then they realize the thing's going to be wrapped up and over with in a few days. Let's try different things. But they're saying that it's not necessarily mean you're not going to see half the game. People will be interested, and there's enough there that people want to try out.
I mean, I was just going to say, if Reddit is any indication of what happened in the beta, I would just imagine that the telemetrics that that Bungie got back is just just people dancing.
Yeah. They said that was really weird.
That was almost every YouTube video. Was just yeah, that was hilarious though.
But they were talking about like the raids and stuff like that. So the whole raid thing is basically it's 6 players, but it has to be friends on your friends list. Okay, you can't do it otherwise. You can't go in with strangers. And they're saying the idea is it is almost hard enough to try and convince strangers to team up together and do like a mission that's 5, 10, 15 minutes long, to try and convince 6 people to do a raid that is several hours long is almost impossible.
So do it seriously without Leroy jinxing.
We're going to all try that at least once in our life. So they do this, and the idea is there will be checkpoints in it. So you're not basically sitting there for 4 hours going, God, I need a break. There will be checkpoints in it, but the way they sort of phrased it is they're not going to be there forever. So it might be a case you'll get a checkpoint, and then a timer will kick in, but you have to be back in here in 15 minutes. But they're saying they don't think the rate...
15 minutes or a week?
I'm going to say a week on this, because 15 minutes might be a little bit of a push. Maybe a day or something like that. But they actually don't expect everyone to play these. They don't expect everyone to get into it. They said, you try it the first time, you're going to get completely destroyed. And the idea is, it's not necessarily a grind, but it's a barometer of how well you're doing Destiny, how far you've gone, how much of your legend you've forged, to use the marketing speak. The idea is you've got the weapons to get that little bit further. There was extra few feet, and then you keep trying. And eventually, you do get through the raid. But I'm going to try it.
Yeah. Okay. What's next on the list?
Questions and
anything in the chat that we should be aware of?
The only real question was about you promised something with the crew yesterday, beta.
Oh yes, the video is up on the site.
Okay.
And like I said yesterday, in the video, during the interview, he pulls out a beta key and flashes it to the screen. So it's been up on the site now for a couple of hours, so it might be gone, but hey, you never know. Run through.
You couldn't see it?
I don't know. Maybe look again.
Oh, maybe I didn't quite get it into focus properly. But hey, look again, go frame by frame.
CSI. Yeah, zoom in.
No, it's in the middle of the interview. It's not at the end of the interview.
Someone said, hope we get Predator in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, Predator in Mortal Kombat.
I don't know anything about either. So
That sounds like a licensing nightmare. But yeah.
Never know. Fans want it. I'm still waiting for the Evolve mod to come out where it's Predator versus Arnie.
And a lot of people, both in the chat and in our internal Skype thing, saying Gillen's Forza Horizon interview was really good.
Sorry, can you just say that again? I just didn't quite hear it.
No.
No, I get this once, right? I get a
Yeah.
compliment once.
Yes, once every blue moon.
Once. Just once in my lifetime. Well, that was actually about Forza. We were trying to get the Playground guys, but you can see Dan Greenwald there.
Yeah, you have to get him.
You have to talk to him, and he's always fabulous to talk to. The one thing we didn't get to do, which we wanted to do for that interview, was we asked him at the end, basically, who's the better set of drivers, Turn 10 or Playground? And he gave a very diplomatic answer, as well he would. We tried to track down Playground. The idea of just asking the same question and then cut the two together. We may still do that just to see.
We'll still have tomorrow.
We will find you Playground and we will ask you questions and you will give us answers, god damn it. But yeah, actually counter to that, Project Cars. So
Oh yeah.
Forza, Horizon, I was like, all right, okay, sat down, played it. Suddenly on my radar. I like that sort of summer festival groove thing, so I am picking it up. Obviously to review it, but I'll be picking it up myself just to play it and probably be my counter game to like Destiny over the winter months. But Project Cars is Slightly Mad Studios' realistic simulation racer, as they state, the only realistic simulation racer coming out this fall. Which is fair enough, it's true. Not exactly.
All factual.
It's not going to fit in a marketing slogan, but it works well. And try Oculus with that. That's the weird thing. I mean, they were talking about how the arcade experience in Forza and stuff like that doesn't really give that real great simulation experience. But that doesn't sell me on the game, you know? There are people, and that room was rammed full of like sim nuts, and that's great to see. And I was sort of asking them about, we have these variety of racing games now that are all trying to achieve the reality of what it feels like to be in this supercar that you'll never be able to drive in real life.
The ultimate goal of a game like that is to be like completely real. It's like driving the actual car.
So the question is, that's convergence, right? So at what point do all these games become exactly the same other than the name on the branding, you know? If we had, say, the same supercar in 5 racing games and we stacked them side by side and raced them, would we be able to feel the difference? And would the difference mean that one studio is not quite on par with another one? They haven't tweaked it exactly the same? I would actually genuinely like to do this. Maybe get a couple of race drivers in, set up a proper like racing wheel, the whole setup, 3 screens, and just rotate them through. Same supercar, same racetrack, different game. And see what they feel and see what the response is. I think there'd be something in that because I think the idea behind this is fantastic. And these guys work so hard with telemetry, with all these tweaks and everything like it to get exactly right. But I think there's something there about everybody all converging on the same line. And it's not necessarily, let's get the biggest slice of the profit. Let's get the biggest amount of sales here. We're trying to achieve the same thing, you know? Or maybe there'll be a Kickstarter on it.
Yeah. I mean, I would think at the end of the day, what would, when all the games become as real, the differentiating part would be that Forza and Microsoft would buy up all the licenses of the cars. So all the other games would have to make up the cars. But
that's what I actually love about Dan. The thing is, Forza 5 obviously came out last year, and every time I'm seeing him, he's come to announce like 2 new cars or 3 new cars. And God bless him, he's really enthused about this stuff, you know. You see him go, we've got this car, and there's about 5 people in the audience go, I know what car that is, it's amazing. But still great that they're still putting stuff out.
Yeah, and the best thing is, of course, to these press conferences, a lot of the time he actually drives that car too. It's like, oh, I need a reason to get to drive this car. Oh, I know, let's get it into the game, and we'll get one. I'll drive it to the convention.
That's what I said to the Avalanche guys years ago with Just Cause. I was like, is the reason you've decided on a tropical locale just so you can do these research trips and spend 2 weeks in the Caribbean? They're like, yeah.
I guess they wanted to spend a couple of months in the Australian outback then for Mad Max.
Mad Max, there's a game. I'm intrigued to see. I mean,
haven't seen it here at all. No.
That's point actually. It wasn't on our radar. So.
But then again, it has been delayed. I guess they're at home crunching and
sometimes it's hard to get Tom Hardy in a game.
Oh, by the way, trailer to the new Mad Max film. Oh,
amazing! I probably blew. I didn't realize it was the same guy doing it as well.
Oh yeah. He, I mean, he's done a couple of things in between, but this is his baby. He's coming back to it, and now he has cash, so it's gonna be awesome.
Mad Max now with money instead of petrol. Amazing. I'd like to touch upon just another game. I know we're sort of pinballing between things here. So sometimes we're doing interviews. We book up as a network, maybe about 120 interviews per event like this.
Yeah, something like
And that's split between all of us. So, and resources being what they are, sometimes you end up going to an interview or a presentation of a game you have no idea about. You know, it's not your forte, or you're not recognizing the name of the person that booked it did. This happened to me yesterday at Focus Interactive. I'm going to read this off because I really don't want to pronounce it wrong. I probably will pronounce it wrong anyway. So Morhem, or Mordiem, City of the Damned, right? It was just a name, knew nothing about it. Talked to the guys about it. So the idea is Fantasy Warhammer universe with XCOM, right? Okay, and the idea is it's built on a specific tabletop version of Warhammer they did years ago, and they sort of exercise it. Instead of that sort of top-down view, you've got a third-person view for each character. And you basically, same thing, you've only got that many paces you can make per move or per turn, and just working your way through. So there's, with that lack of overview of the map, you've no idea where the enemy is. I mean, certainly you pick that up gradually over XCOM, but it was more apparent really where the shots were coming from, or roughly where the enemy would be.
Yeah, it's like taking the fog of war to an extreme.
Yeah.
It's line of sight now.
Yeah. So it's third-person adventure, except it's turn-based, and you just have to gradually explore the map. And within the map itself, there's also game modes where you're trying to discover and find a relic. So the idea, I guess, is you're trying to ward off attacks by the enemy group, and at the same time explore the city and try and find a specific relic, capture it, and then get it back to your side. So it's, again, a nice, interesting twist on familiar gameplay tactics, but enough that made me go, all right, I will definitely give this a go. And I'm actually enjoying the fact that, hey Lasse, I'm actually enjoying the fact Warhammer's got that renaissance now of various games, very different games appearing, like the Space Wolf stuff. I was a big Space Hulk guy back in the day, so I'm really glad to see a game being iterated on that particular, tabletop game.
Yeah. We're almost out of time. I just want to touch on another interview that I did with Bengt today on Elite Dangerous.
Oh, yes, that game, man.
I'm terrible with names. Can you remember the lead? The name was it David Braben?
David Braben, that's
David
correct,
Braben.
yes.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
So yeah, we talked to David Braben, very energetic and enthusiastic about the game. I mean, they wanted to make another Elite game for a very long time, and they finally now are getting to do so with crowdfunding. But I haven't been really into the Elite series, and I wasn't quite aware what Elite Dangerous was about. But after you guys saw it at E3 with the Oculus, I was like, okay, I'm looking into it. And now I've kind of informed myself a lot about it, and I'm excited.
Did you get to try it today?
I did not get to try it because I don't have time for that. I have to work.
I don't have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. So
I'm mad. I'm not going to take it.
Yeah. No, but he touched upon a couple of things in the interview, which is going to come up later, of course, that I thought were really interesting. One of the main parts is that they're not just making one game. They're making one game right now for the release, which is the space exploration inside the ship, you know what I mean? And then after release, they're going to keep working on it for as long as there's a player base, and they want to have, for example, explorable interiors. And for example, the main space station, he said that the community member kind of mapped out what the square footage of the inside of the space station, and it's more than the playable area in GTA 4.
Whoa. Okay.
So they need to fill that out with stuff to do.
Right, okay.
So that's something that they're going to be working on post-release.
All right.
And also planetary exploration. You're going to land on the planet, get out of the ship, you're going to explore the planet. They need to fill that out. So that's like a whole entire new game that they have to make on top of the game.
Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky.
Well, okay, kind of.
No, I'm not saying by any means. That's great to see. So what are they actually releasing then? The space exploration, just strike off into the galaxy, try and find whatever. You see a planet, you clock it, you register it, and then you fly on.
Yeah, something like that. And he also talked about how they're actually future-proofing the game. They've actually shown that the textures that they're using can actually be upscaled to 16K. And I mean, there are no monitors that...
Is this the 3 monitor setup? Or no, actually...
No. All the assets in the game can be scaled up to be shown in 10 years' time on a 16K screen.
Okay, that was it. Because the Project Cars guys were like, "This is ready for 12K." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I went, "Well, it's 3-4K more." I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Ah,
I mean,
right, okay."
I don't know the exact specifics, but that was what he said.
That's a hell of a future-proof right there.
Exactly. So I mean, this is a game that you get stuck into it. You're going to be playing it for a long time, because of course it's the entire Milky Way galaxy. I mean, there's so many planets. I mean, it'll never be fully explored.
Yeah.
So, got me
Interesting.
pretty damn excited for that game. And another game that is gonna make a purchase of the Oculus Rift
I think we're
completely worth it.
Do you know what? We should actually do this. We should do a stream at some point where we just run down all the Oculus supported games
exactly.
and sort of actually talk about them in turn and sort of what they give.
But this also brings me to one point. Since, we have a couple of minutes left. Yeah. We're talking a lot about the Oculus Rift, and we haven't mentioned the Morpheus at all. And there's a reason for that. There is no Morpheus here.
No, I haven't seen it. No.
Yeah, and which is kind of strange to me because they showed it at E3, but now here at Gamescom they have the public. And I mean, the whole idea about the Morpheus is that because it is right now, it's a project. It's not a product.
It's not.
So
tailored for
they should be bringing it out, in my opinion, to the public to get an opinion. And
Let's check with our man off camera at the moment because neither of us were at Sony yesterday.
Nick?
Did they actually talk about Morpheus during the Sony conference?
I think they mentioned it like offhand. Yeah, there wasn't a lot on it, but again, like I was filming, which means you miss half of it. But there wasn't a big Morpheus thing at least. I think they were like, "Oh, we're doing this big like in the future."
And I mean, and we also
yeah.
And we did an interview with Michael Denny, the head of the Worldwide Studios, and he didn't mention it at all either. So it's kind of,
weird. Yeah, it's maybe
lost in the wild right now. But again, I know
maybe they've got their feedback and then they're taking it on board next year. Might come out.
Like I said, it's still a project. It's still they're still working on it. But I mean, in the meantime, the Oculus is getting their name recognition and building their brand. So
I've got something to tell you when we're off camera. Actually,
I
I can't mention this while we're streaming, but I'll tell you about it afterwards.
I think we're just kind of out of time.
Yeah.
So
2 seconds left.
yes. So what we're gonna do now is sign off. We're not gonna be back here tomorrow because at this time tomorrow we're gonna be driving to the airport and flying back home. And then in the following weeks, we'll be editing all the interviews that we've been filming and getting them up on the site. Written previews
As well.
Yep.
So basically, yeah, just even though we won't be here tomorrow night, come back on the site anyway because we will have written previews. We will have interviews up as well as various other fun things for you guys to view, and that will be on for basically the weekend and the weeks to come. Basically, as always, Gamereactor is your #1 spot for the latest breaking news, best interviews, best edited interviews as well, and various other things. So, yeah, until next time.
And as always, see you on the flip side.